Alrighty, let's get things started on this Thursday night. What are we going to call this? We're going to call this Wilhelm After Dark? That's not good. All right, we're going to start a live streaming coverage here tonight. Late night session. We're going to be at this for probably a couple of hours, with thunderstorms increasing in coverage across our television viewing area in Northeast Ohio and Northwest PA as we head past midnight especially. We've already got some kind of precursor thunderstorms, if you will, that have erupted over the last half an hour or so across parts of our area. Now, all of this is sub-severe, but there's some downpours with this, no doubt, in parts of Mercer County, down to Slippery Rock, and then heading down towards Beaver Falls, PA. Also, a couple of renegade downpours with a little thunder and lightning around Salem, and heading up towards Youngstown as well. But, of course, the main show is up here. I'm going to take off the warning information and even... well, I'll leave the lightning on for now, but just to kind of give you a broad overview of what we got coming our way. This is a big, mean line of thunderstorms that erupted right on schedule earlier on today across parts of Wisconsin, Illinois, northern Indiana, and especially up into Michigan. And it's been pushing to the east-southeast. It has had a history of producing some wind damage. It's had a history of occasionally producing some tornadic circulations in parts of Michigan, and we've even had that in parts of Ohio over the last half an hour or so. Current tornado warnings out up towards the Sandusky area. These are mostly radar indicated, but there's been a couple of reports of some damage and perhaps even windows blown out of houses around Oak Harbor. That's not far to the south of Sandusky. Earlier on in the 11 o'clock hour, those tornado warnings run up here until about 11:45. A little bit closer to our viewing area, we have a severe thunderstorm warning, a big one, big polygon out for Cuyahoga County, northern parts of Summit County, Lorain County as well, down towards Medina. This runs until 12:30, this severe thunderstorm warning. Also, a severe thunderstorm warning has been out for a while up in Geauga and Lake counties for a storm that will roll across Ashtabula County here in the near term, and also kind of near home up in Crawford County. Severe thunderstorm warning, another big polygon issued for parts of Crawford County, PA, including basically Meadville on north and east. Down in our viewing area, we've got some downpours, certainly in Mercer County, Mercer over to Jackson Center, Stoneboro, and New Lebanon as well. Thanks to everyone who is joining us on this live streaming coverage. We kicked things off a couple of minutes ago. We're going to stick with you as long as we have a severe weather threat. That means it's a late night for me. If you're watching this, it's a late night for you as well. As we get things going here this evening and things get a little bit busy, if we do happen to have some high-end severe thunderstorm warnings, any tornado warnings, help us spread the word if you could. There's going to be a lot of people who don't watch this because they're sleeping through it. And if we have a particularly dangerous situation, if you start hearing me talking about seeking shelter, finding your safe place, hey, there's a tornado warning or something like that, do us a favor and make contact with people you know are probably not watching this, that might be sleeping through this. Try to give them a call, send them a text, give them a heads up. One thing we've been telling people to do with this kind of nocturnal severe weather tonight is make sure that you go to bed with your devices not in do not disturb mode. Make sure that you can be woken up if we do have particularly bad weather. Now, you know, a fairly routine thunderstorm, even a borderline severe thunderstorm, a lot of people may not be, they may not be interested in being woken up for that. But a high-end severe thunderstorm warning with wind gusts of 70 miles per hour or a tornado warning, a lot of people are probably going to want to get alerted for that. And so if you plan on just watching this for a little while and then heading to bed and maybe trying to sleep through a lot of this over the next couple of hours, probably just a good idea to keep your device on. Don't put it on do not disturb, I should say. Make sure that you can be alerted. So, again, we're kind of getting things rolling here this evening. I've got my, off camera here, I've got my kind of internal chats going with the National Weather Service offices in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. They've been talking a lot about the tornadic rotations out towards the Sandusky area. Looks like they're going to allow at least one of those warnings to expire, so that is good news. The Pittsburgh National Weather Service office noting that, you know, it's a little bit of a tougher call for the Pittsburgh National Weather Service office. They cover a big area, and it looks like the severe weather risk overall will be a little bit lower tonight once you're far enough to the south and east closer to Pittsburgh. The reason we say that is because of this. This is kind of the situation we have tonight. This is a map showing the atmospheric instability. In other words, the ability for air parcels to rise freely through the atmosphere. That's called an unstable atmosphere. When air parcels can just rise freely without too much inhibition. And thunderstorms like to kind of ride along the gradient, the instability gradient. That's something that thunderstorms like to do, and we've seen evidence of that today. These storms have been doing one of these numbers, kind of riding the top edge of this instability gradient. Now, in our TV viewing area today, it did not get as hot as we thought it would, because some debris clouds from last night's storms were definitely a factor for the first half of the day today, keeping a lid on temperatures a little bit. And it made it so the atmosphere earlier today was not tremendously unstable locally, and it still is not tremendously unstable locally this evening. A lot of our instability is kind of aloft. It's not rooted near the surface. In other words, it's more unstable up a few thousand feet in the atmosphere. But it's becoming a little more unstable as we speak, as some of this higher instability air starts pushing to the east. But yes, super unstable air out here, and these storms were kind of born on the leading edge, or the northern edge, of that instability gradient earlier on today across parts of the Great Lakes. All right, so we no longer have any tornado warnings out with this activity in northwest Ohio. Out here, they've allowed those to expire. We have high-end severe thunderstorm warnings out, though, from the Mansfield area up I-71 towards Cleveland. You notice a couple of these tags. We call these tags considerable tag as far as the threat. We also have a considerable tag on the Cleveland area warning with a tornado possible tag on that warning as well. Let me check in on my Facebook comments. Just noticed someone commented, I wish he would answer these questions. Easier said than done sometimes when you're trying to talk live on the air. But now that we have a moment to kind of catch up and see where we stand with our comments section here, thanks to everyone who is joining me, whether you're watching via a link on Facebook or you're watching this natively on my YouTube channel. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Really, really appreciate that. It looks like the comment about wish you would answer these questions was on a previous post, not this live streaming link. You can make some people happy some of the time. That's life in showbiz, you know. All right, so kind of resetting and going back to our viewing area here at 11:47. We have a couple of thunderstorms in the area, but these are non-severe, and this is not the main show. The main show is off to our north and east. To kind of give you a kind of a heads up as to what to expect as far as a clock time for your location. These things are racing. So in any one location, the worst wind threat is not going to last very long in any one location. These are moving at about 60 miles per hour. Under that premise, let's just do some approximate clock times here of this kind of main line that is impacting parts of northern Ohio right now. And you're not going to see every city in the world listed here, but you can kind of get a sense as to what we can expect. You know, once we get into our northern viewing area, the Cortland area, Warren, Newton Falls, Southington, over towards Mecca, Kinsman, down into Vienna, you know, kind of a lot of Trumbull County. We're talking about mostly as we get deep into the 12 o'clock hour, mostly after, say, 12:30, as far as this main line. Once you get closer to the state line, over to Sharon and Wheatland, Hermitage area, pretty close to 1 a.m. Same thing in Youngstown, the 224 corridor. This is probably pretty close to 1 a.m. As far as the impacts from this main line of storms that's over Lake Erie right now and impacting the Sandusky area. It's going to take until pretty deep into the 1 o'clock hour before a lot of this gets to the edges of our viewing area. So in other words, if you're watching from East Liverpool, East Palestine, Elwood City, Slippery Rock, Grove City, places like that, it's going to be probably well into the 1 o'clock hour before the main line cruises on through those areas. And so we're probably going to be at this for a couple of hours tonight with the earliest, or the The areas that will see the severe weather the soonest off in our northern viewing area, and the last places to see it in our southern and eastern viewing area. As far as the big picture here, severe thunderstorm watch was issued a couple of hours ago for just about all of northern Ohio and a good chunk of western PA. It does stop at at Beaver County, PA. Beaver County, PA, in other words, and down towards Pittsburgh, not in the watch. This watch runs until 3 a.m. Now, I do suspect that they'll start chipping away at counties as the line clears these counties well before 3 a.m. And even in our eastern and southern viewing area, we're probably about done by 2 at the latest. But technically, the watch box that was originally issued does run until 3 a.m. This is a late night special. It goes to show you we don't need to be in the middle of the day to have severe weather. If the conditions are right, if the dynamics are right in the atmosphere, you can have severe weather at any time of the day, particularly in the spring and summer season. Some reports of measured wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour or so with this warned band. Lorain area, just west of Cleveland. Closer to home, over here in Mercer County, still some downpours east of I-79. And then in Mahoning and Columbiana County, a couple of showers around, no big deal. Heavier storms up into Ashtabula County, coming out of northern Geauga and Lake counties. And here's our big severe thunderstorm warning polygons that encompasses the Cleveland metro area, heading down towards Mansfield. And this is meme-looking stuff out here. There's been a history of very strong winds, and we're measuring some winds here via the radar in some of these deeper blues of 70 miles per hour plus that are about to come ashore. These wind gusts mostly are up over the lake right now, but these are coming ashore momentarily, so they really mean some business. The ingredients are ripe tonight. They're just perfect for strong wind gusts. Can't rule out a little bit of hail within this activity. But straight line winds, easily the number one concern for tonight. If you've been following our posts on social media and watching our coverage on TV today, we've been talking about a low-end tornado threat with the storms tonight. We want to emphasize that low end. We can't rule out that embedded within this main line especially, there might be some tornadic circulations that try to spin up every now and then. They're probably going to be pretty brief if they happen. We've seen that from time to time from Michigan to northwest Ohio. We get occasionally a tornado warning issued for a circulation that lasts 5-10 minutes, then it kind of goes away. This is something that we can't rule out for the next couple of hours. But the most likely outcome is really strong straight line winds. You know my saying, wind is wind, and your siding and your trees and everything that can blow around, trampolines and things like that, they don't care if the wind came from a tornado or a thunderstorm wind gust. If that gust is 65 miles per hour, that's equivalent to an EF0 tornado. So, whenever we have situations, severe weather situations, we get a lot of comments naturally about, hey, there had to have been a tornado. It was definitely a tornado. I heard the roar. Things like that. And in most circumstances, yeah, it's not a tornado. But high-end severe thunderstorms can produce very similar wind gusts to low-end tornadoes, EF0s. Once you get into EF1, EF2 tornado categories or territory, those are wind speeds that we just typically don't see in even higher-end thunderstorms. Those become just unique to tornadoes. But a low-end tornado, an EF0, roughly the same as a pretty high-end severe thunderstorm wind gust. All right, so that's my little spiel about wind being wind. All right, it is 11:53. We're coming up on the top of the hour. Just a reminder for those who are curious, if we do have any tornado warnings tonight, I will have to step away from the stream briefly to set up the coverage on TV. We'll do kind of a simulcast. You'll see my live stream resuming here, but it will be simulcast on TV if we get any tornado warnings. Thankfully, with a middle of the night situation, we're not going to make too many people unhappy. We sometimes make people unhappy if we go over their favorite TV shows whenever we do wall-to-wall coverage for tornado warnings, but I doubt that's much of a problem in the middle of the night, certainly. We did some extended live coverage on a Saturday almost 2 weeks ago, about 3 hours worth. We had a tornado warning in Mahoning County with that outbreak. Thankfully, no confirmed tornado with that, but there was a warning for a time in Mahoning County. Didn't hear a peep as far as any complaints go. So Saturday afternoons, if sports isn't on especially, that might be an okay time to break in on TV and not make too many people upset. All right, lots of comments on my YouTube channel tonight. Thanks for everyone who is chipping in. Roberto mentioning it's Geeks After Dark. I like that one. Weather for Weather Geeks After Dark. The late night edition of Weather for Weather Geeks, if you will. It's been a little while since I've done one of these kind of late night specials. My personal record for having to stay late and cover severe weather, it's been a long time. But I stayed once until 3:30ish in the morning covering an overnight severe weather outbreak. That might have been almost 10 years ago at this point. It's not often we have to cover severe weather at this time of the night, but tonight's one of those nights where everything's kind of coming together. All right, some some good comments on YouTube. Thanks to everyone for watching tonight. Really appreciate you watching. I've got a crowd on Facebook as well. I couldn't natively stream to Facebook tonight. We had some technical difficulties with that, so I just linked to my YouTube channel on Facebook. So if you're watching via that link, really, really appreciate it. Let's go back up to Trumbull County. We have no warnings out for this, but big heavy thunderstorm pushing into the Mesopotamia area right now. No doubt there's a gust of wind with this. Doesn't look like there's probably... maybe there's a little hail with this. Wouldn't be surprised if we had a little hail right in here. Coming out of the Middlefield area, coming across 87 in northern Trumbull County. Might be a little hail with that, a gusty wind as well. Certainly some downpours. That's the only really heavy action we have in most of our viewing area, although far eastern Mercer County, we have some heavy storms around and perhaps a little hail over here. By the way, if you're a real weather geek, you probably know the Pittsburgh radar is down for maintenance. Not very good timing. But occasionally the National Weather Service offices across the country have to take offline their radars for some upkeep and some maintenance to prolong their life. Some maintenance can prolong a radar's life by 20 years or more. It's just a little inconvenient when we have storms like this. So we're going to rely pretty heavily on the Cleveland radar source tonight. The Pittsburgh radar source is not available to us, and so as these storms get a little bit closer to our eastern and southern viewing areas tonight, we're going to be looking at these storms really far up in those storms. We're not going to have low-level radar scans except for the terminal radar, which is a short-range radar down here closer to the airport in Pittsburgh. That radar is of use if the storms are really close to the Pittsburgh airport, far southeastern Columbiana County, down into Jefferson County, Hancock County, down into parts of Beaver County, PA. We can use that radar source, but the main radar out of Pittsburgh is, in fact, out of commission. All right, so we have a tornado warning that was just issued for western Trumbull County. All right, so let's show you this visually, and then we're going to have to get on TV. There it is. There's our tornado warning. This covers western Trumbull County. A slice of western Trumbull County. It's in effect until 12:30. This is for the storm that is impacting, just coming into the Cleveland metro area right now. They're issuing these big polygons tonight because these storms are moving so fast. So bear with me for just a moment while I step away and set up some live coverage on the TV side. Hey Ron, it's Eric. Hey, we have a tornado warning, western Trumbull. I will turn it on and just my mic and max 1. Alright, my mic is on now. Yeah, and I'll pop on my IFB if you want to talk to me over that. Oh, thanks. Bye. Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3. Okay. Again, if you're watching on the live stream, bear with us for just a second while we get on TV. Yep, I can hear you. Yeah, let's get on. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here with you. We're getting on the air as we hit midnight because we have a tornado warning now out for western parts of Trumbull County. This warning runs for another half an hour until 12:30 a.m. It includes just the western part of Trumbull 30 for this storm that is still a ways away. The tornado warning actually extends all the way back to Cleveland. They're going to issue big tornado warnings overnight tonight because of the speed of these particular storms. They are moving at about 60 miles per hour, so they are moving at a rapid pace. So they issued a big warning polygon because of the storms that are actually just now coming ashore from Lake Erie into the metro Cleveland area. Now, out ahead of where the circulation is, we do have a couple of thunderstorms out there, but these are mostly sub-severe. We have a thunderstorm that might be producing some small hail and a little bit of wind around Mesopotamia and Bloomfield. That is not the tornadic circulation. The tornadic circulation is actually, again, much closer to Cleveland right now, but this storm is moving at about 60 to 65 miles per hour. Moving east at 60 miles per hour, a radar-indicated tornado. The severe thunderstorm was located right over downtown Cleveland, basically. And so they issued a big tornado warning that includes parts of Cuyahoga County, Geauga County, Portage County, and catches the western part of Trumbull County. We are live streaming tonight on social media, so join us there if you want to watch the live streaming coverage. We are getting on television, though, because of this tornado warning, which encompasses the western roughly 20% of Trumbull County. That tornado warning runs until 12:30 a.m. Now, if you have not paid much attention to the weather and forecasts today, we are under a severe weather risk across our area for the next couple of hours. In fact, let me zoom out real quickly here and show you all the counties that are under a severe thunderstorm watch until 3 a.m. This includes just about all of northern Ohio and northwest PA, including all of our television viewing area. Again, a severe thunderstorm watch out until 3 o'clock in the morning. We think the threat in most of our TV viewing area is between about now and 2 o'clock or so. We should be clearing things out as we go deeper into the 2 o'clock hour in most of our area. But from now until then, we have to be weather aware and keep a very close eye on this line of thunderstorms. This thunderstorm complex has had a history of producing wind damage in parts of Michigan and northwest Ohio, and occasionally there's been a tornado warning embedded within this kind of main line of thunderstorms, because occasionally there's been some small circulations that have tried to develop in this main line of thunderstorms. For the most part, our main threat over the next couple of hours, straight line thunderstorm winds. These straight line thunderstorm winds, however, can really be strong. They can be 60 to 70 miles per hour, and that wind speed is equivalent roughly to a low-end EF0 tornado. So one of the things I say a lot in severe weather coverage is wind, and your roof and your siding and your trees and your trampolines and things that can blow around, they don't really care if the wind came from a tornado or not. A lot of people assume when it's really windy in a thunderstorm that it had to be a tornado. Chances are it's not a tornado in most circumstances, but strong winds in thunderstorms, routine straight line winds in thunderstorms, can still be really strong and do some damage. So even though we have a tornado warning out for western Trumbull County, the main threat in most of our area over the next couple of hours will be straight line winds coming out of strong thunderstorms pushing in from the north and from the west. Looking at some of the radar data tonight, let's check out, we're going to switch kind of products here and show you what we call the wind velocity data. This is based off the radar source near Cleveland. Hard to find a real strong circulation in the radar data right now. It is all kind of messy, but there's a lot of strong winds in here, no doubt, from Parma up towards Shaker Heights, the greater Cleveland area, up towards Euclid and Mentor as well. And again, this is a big tornado warning, extends from Cleveland all the way down to Newton Falls. And the reason why the National Weather Service is issuing such a an expansive warning. It covers a large area of real estate. It's because these storms are really moving fast. They're moving at 60 miles per hour or so. So it's not going to take much time for these storms to begin pushing into our television viewing area. Now, we already have a couple of storms around, but these are sub-severe that are in our TV viewing area right now. We have a couple of showers, Columbian up to Youngstown and into the Niles area. A couple of downpours and maybe some small hail up in northwestern Trumbull County around Mesopotamia. We've had some downpours with thunder and lightning east of I-79 over in Mercer County. But what we've been watching all day is this strong line of thunderstorms. This originated way back in Wisconsin and central Michigan, and it's been diving south and east over the last several hours. Let's give you some approximate clock times on kind of the main line of thunderstorms. Again, we're going to show you times for this main line that has the tornado warning along it. And we're not going to be able to list every city here, but we can extrapolate a little bit. You know, we're talking about close to 12:30 to 12:45 once you get into western Trumbull County. So Newton Falls, Warren, Southington, most of the Mosquito Lake area, including the Mecca area. This will be towards the bottom of the hour and maybe even closer to 1 o'clock. Certainly closer to 1 o'clock for this main line as you get off to the south and east, closer to Youngstown, closer to the 224 corridor from Poland to Boardman to over to Struthers and Camel and Coatesville, places like that. It's going to take until deep into the 1 o'clock hour for a lot of this activity to push into our southern viewing area in our far eastern viewing area. So from Grove City down to New Wilmington, to Newcastle, to Elwood City, to East Palestine, to East Liverpool, to Salineville, kind of our far southern and eastern areas. It's going to take until well into the 1 o'clock hour before this kind of main line of thunderstorms pushes into a lot of those areas. So again, if you're just joining us on television, we're breaking in tonight as we head past midnight because of a tornado warning that is out for kind of the western 20% of Trumbull County. This warning extends all the way back towards kind of some of the southern and southeastern suburbs of Cleveland. The storm is racing to the south and east at about 60 miles per hour. The main threat with all of our storms over the next couple of hours will be wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour, but there is a risk that embedded within this kind of main thrust of thunderstorms that occasionally there's going to be a circulation that tries to form, and hence we wouldn't be surprised to see additional spotty tornado warnings over the next couple of hours. In addition to our television coverage right now, we are simulcasting, I should say, this live stream on social media, so head over to Facebook or my YouTube channel to find the links for that if you want to watch online. Up near Cleveland, there was a 75 mile per hour wind gust reported at Burke Lakefront Airport. That's, of course, near the football stadium and near the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right along the lakeshore in Cleveland, a 75 mile per hour wind gust as this storm came ashore. That was reported just a few moments ago by the National Weather Service office up in Cleveland. So yeah, these storms really mean some business. We can look at all the radar data in the world, and it's valuable and it's useful, but it's nice to see things actually being confirmed on the ground. It's certainly, maybe nice is not the right word to use there. It's very unnice weather, but it helps us out to see confirmation on the ground of what we're seeing on the radar. So again, up near Cleveland, near downtown Cleveland, right near the lakeshore, from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over to Burke Lakefront Airport, a 75 mile per hour wind gust was reported just a time ago. Resetting a little bit for those just joining us, we have a tornado warning out until 12:30 for western Trumbull County. If you're watching us from Newton Falls, Southington, up to Mesopotamia, and everywhere kind of that I didn't name that's pretty close to those locations, coming up in about 5 or 10 minutes, so we recommend that you're going to want to seek shelter from this storm. Find your safe location. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. Of course, if you have a basement, typically that's one of your better places to be in your home. If you don't have a basement, the lowest floor of your location is the place to be. An interior room oftentimes is a good choice, putting as many walls between you and the outside as you can. For a lot of people, that's a bathroom. For some, it's a stairwell, a closet, things like that. So again, I'm not going to tell you to find those safe locations right this instant if you're watching from Newton Falls up to Southington, up to Farmington, up to Mesopotamia. But coming up in about 5 or 10 minutes, I think it'll be probably a good idea. The storm that prompted the tornado warning is still fairly far off to the north and west of western Trumbull County right now, a little bit closer to Shaker Heights, Twinsburg, Hudson area, heading up towards Chester, and again, a lot of the areas south and east now of greater Cleveland. We are noting here that the radar is showing 80 plus mile per hour wind gusts near Mayfield Heights, heading towards Chesterland and Gates Mills. Again, a lot of this is now just south and east of the Cleveland area. We'll show you some of that velocity data off the Cleveland radar. And what we're talking about here is some of these brighter reds and pinks, sampling some pretty strong winds now. Of course, mostly to the south and east now of downtown Cleveland. This is the cluster of storms that prompted the tornado warning issuance until the bottom of the hour, until 12:30, for western parts of Trumbull County. We'll put a loop on the radar here to show you just how things are going, where things are headed. This main cluster of storms will impact most of our television market. Here as we head through the 12 and 1 o'clock hours, we're probably looking better by 2 o'clock or so in most of our TV viewing area. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch until 3 a.m. I suspect parts of our area will be taken out of that watch box before 3 a.m., especially in our northern viewing area. The threat may be over well before 3 a.m. in many of those locations. We're going to get a new tornado warning now, not in our viewing area, but for parts of Ashtabula, Geauga, and Lake County. So let's look at that visually. So we have a second tornado warning now out up here, closer to the lakeshore. This is up in wine country. Parts of northern Geauga, Lake counties into Ashtabula County, including the town of Trumbull, but it's up in Ashtabula County, closer to I-90. A lot of great wineries up in this area. But this is where our new tornado warning is out until 12:45. That's just north of our TV viewing area. In our TV viewing area, tornado warning until the bottom of the hour, until 12:30 for western Trumbull County. Now, we'll keep an eye on this storm to see at the bottom of the hour at 12:30 whether or not they need to issue a new tornado warning upon the expiration of this initial warning, or if they'll allow this to expire because the rotation that originally prompted the warning is no longer much of a threat. Looking at the radar data myself right now, I don't see a lot of strong circulations in this warning polygon in this area right here. I don't see a lot that really grabs my eye in terms of strong tornadic circulations right now. Let's hope that trend continues. Now, no doubt there's some strong wind in this. And again, you don't need a tornado to have strong winds. But no doubt we're seeing some strong winds. It's marginal right now, I would say, whether or not we have a legit tornado threat with this. But that being said, if you are under a tornado warning, if you're in this polygon, and again, this includes Newton Falls, this includes Southington, this includes Farmington, up to Mesopotamia and Bloomfield, parts of the Bristol area as well, and this is mostly just to the west of Greater Warren. So basically the warning polygon stops at about Leavittsburg. If you're in the warning polygon, respect that, and coming up here maybe by about 12:20, we're going to tell you to find your safe location. It's not necessary to do it right this second, but be ready to spring into action here in the next 5 to 10 minutes if you're watching us from western parts of Trumbull County. Zooming out again and talking about a little bit of just the broad view of things, the general idea tonight, we have a severe weather risk across our area for the next couple of hours, probably winding down by about 2 o'clock or so. A severe thunderstorm watch in all the counties in yellow tonight and early this morning, including the greater Youngstown area and just about our entire television viewing area. In fact, under that severe thunderstorm watch, we have one tornado warning out for parts of our television viewing area, and that is for western parts of Trumbull County, including the Newton Falls area and points to the north. This warning also extends to the west and includes parts of Portage County, especially north and east of the Kent area, Garrettsville, Parkman, Middlefield in Geauga County, up into Lake County as well. New tornado warning was issued a few moments ago off to our north, closer to I-90, up near the lakeshore and including parts of Ashtabula County, I should say. We have another tornado warning polygon well off to our west, but this warning runs until 12:45, and this is for areas to the north and east of the Mansfield area. All right, so again, keeping an eye on our tornado warning for western Trumbull County and extending off to the west. I'll show you the wind data. I've been keeping a close eye on that to see if we can pick out any interesting looking circulations, possible circulations. I don't see a lot in here. Now, all of this is strong wind from Munson and Russell to Newberry, Bainbridge, down towards Twinsburg. This is 60 plus mile per hour wind in here, but I don't see a lot of evidence of strong rotation within this. But that being said, it was enough to initially prompt a tornado warning, and that warning runs until the bottom of the hour at 12:30 a.m. We're doing a late night severe weather session tonight. We can get severe weather at any time of the day. Oftentimes, the peak of severe weather, of course, is usually in the mid to late afternoon, early in the evening, but when conditions are just right, we can, in fact, pick up severe weather in the middle of the night in the summer season. A very unstable atmosphere earlier today. We'll show you a map real quickly here showing what we call the atmospheric instability, the ability for air parcels to rise freely through the atmosphere. Storms like to ride along the gradient, the instability gradient, the leading edge, in other words, of really unstable air. So we saw thunderstorms blow up here earlier, and they've been kind of diving like this along kind of the northern fringes of very unstable air mass. It was really hot and humid today in Cincinnati and Indianapolis and Chicago, places like that. Chicago had a heat index this afternoon in the 1-teens. And that really hot, humid air has been trying to push off to the east, and we saw that big gradient of instability set up, along with some things going on aloft in the atmosphere. Earlier on today, a lot of wind energy aloft in the atmosphere, some wind shear, little upper level, what we call weather disturbance, not quite a cold front or a big weather feature like that, but just a subtle feature rolling through the Great Lakes, helping to tap into the present instability, and it's, of course, been enough to cause a pretty big eruption of thunderstorms over the last 12 hours or so. All right, so coming up here in a few minutes, I think it'd be a good idea to seek shelter from strong winds heading your way in Mesopotamia, the Farmington area, as far south as Newton Falls, but especially to the north of Newton Falls. We're gonna tell you to find your safe location here in a couple of minutes. So if you're watching this from Southington, especially Southington on north towards Mesopotamia, all of this activity really means some business out here. This is very strong wind gusts, heavy rain, and enough to cause problems, to cause damage, and cause power outages as this rolls off to the east. Getting some reports of sirens being set off in Newton Falls. If you've been watching my coverage for a long time, you know my drill when it comes to sirens. This is a situation in which there should be sirens going off. You're in a tornado warning after all. Hopefully we don't hear sirens where we don't have tornado warnings in other parts of Trumbull County. We don't want people to rely on sirens as their primary way to get warned, of course. They're not designed to be heard indoors, even though some of you can hear sirens indoors. They're not designed that way. They're designed to warn people who are outdoors, and they're pretty unreliable, and there are many better ways to get warned. But it's good that they are going off wherever we have a tornado warning issued, and I've got a couple of Facebook comments mentioning they are going off in Newton Falls right now. Again, the corridor is Newton Falls to Southington up to Mesopotamia. That's where the tornado warning was issued here at the top of the hour, right at midnight. This runs until 12:30 in the morning. And so if you're watching us from Newton Falls on north Southington area up to Mesopotamia, now's a good time to find your safe location in your home. The lowest level of your home, basement is preferable. Get away from windows. That's the primary thing. Blowing glass is bad news, of course, and so we want you to be far away from any windows in case we do have some pretty tough weather coming through here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. If you don't have a basement, interior room in the lowest level of your home, for a lot of people that's going to be a bathroom, it's going to be a closet or a crawl space or underneath a stairwell, things like that. That tends to be your best option if you don't have a basement in most homes. Mobile home residents, this is not a situation whenever there's a tornado warning out or a high-end severe thunderstorm warning. We don't want you to be in a mobile home. Hopefully whenever we have a severe weather threat across your location, if you live in a mobile home, hopefully you make plans well ahead of time to flee that structure and find a site-built structure if you need to seek shelter from severe weather. We don't want you to be in a mobile home in high-end severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. So any site-built structure, this time of night, a lot of businesses aren't open, but a lot of businesses are 24 hours, gas stations, things of that nature, and those places can be good places to go in the event that you need to find shelter if you are a mobile home resident. All right, we have a new warning out. It is not a tornado warning, but it is a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Mahoning County. That's in the kind of flashing box here. This severe thunderstorm warning runs until 1:15 a.m. And cities included in this severe thunderstorm warning include most of the 224 corridor, basically from most of Boardman on west to Canfield, on west to Ellsworth and Berlin, out towards Lake Milton. This includes Sebring and Beloit. It includes Washingtonville, Damascus, Beaver, North Lima, New Middletown, places like that. But it does not include Youngstown. It does not include Austin, or most of the Austintown area. You don't have to head too far south of the heart of Austintown to be in this warning polygon. You're not in the warning in Struthers and Coatesville as well. So again, severe thunderstorm warning out. You'll notice the tags on this. The National Weather Service has the option of including tags in their warning products to draw your attention to the main threats. And this has a considerable tag as far as the threat. Considerable wind damage is a threat with this storm, or line of storms. Also a tornado warning, or a tornado possible, I should say, tag on this storm right here, where it says tornado possible. This means that the National Weather Service is issuing a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's possible that at some point there may be a circulation involved in the storm that prompted the warning. So, severe thunderstorm warning now out for a good chunk of Mahoning County. It is separate from the tornado warning that prompted us to get on television here at midnight for western parts of Trumbull County. And again, the cities included in the tornado warning for 8 more minutes include Newton Falls, up to Southington, up to Mesopotamia. Now, at this point, based on the radar data, it doesn't seem to me like an additional tornado warning is all that likely to be issued once this one expires at 12:30 for our TV viewing area. But that can change at any moment. Based on the current data, though, I'm seeing a lot of strong winds, not seeing a lot of evidence of circulations within this band of strong winds, but we're going to query some of this stuff coming through Geauga and Portage counties. This means business here, folks. Again, this is equivalent to a low-end tornado when we have wind gusts of this magnitude. And so treat it as such. Even if the tornado warning is allowed to expire at 12:30, no doubt it will be replaced by at least a high-end severe thunderstorm warning. And we're going to want to treat this as if it were a tornado, because low-end tornadoes can produce 65, 70, 75 mile per hour winds. We're seeing radar estimates here of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds from Geauga County down into parts of Portage County and into parts of Summit County as well. So again, take this seriously. It really means some business. And this stuff is racing to the east at about 60 miles per hour. Let's take off the warning information briefly, and we'll put a loop on this. This is an hour loop just to show you how fast this stuff is moving. An hour ago, it was still over Lake Erie. Now it's pushing through the greater Akron area and points to the east over towards Kent and Ravenna. This line of storms also extends upwards, up towards Mesopotamia and up into Ashtabula, Lake counties, Geauga County. We're getting some reports on Facebook of sirens in Hubbard. Now we shouldn't be hearing sirens in Hubbard. We should not be hearing sirens in Sharon, PA. Also getting some comments about sirens in Sharon, PA. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about how sirens are not the best method of being warned, and the reason for that is sirens are being activated right now in places that aren't under a threat currently from severe weather. That may change in about half an hour to 45 minutes or so, maybe an hour, near the state line, Sharon to Hermitage, but There's no tornado warning. There's not even a severe thunderstorm warning out for those locations. So sirens should not be activated right now in those areas. We had some reports earlier of sirens being activated in Newton Falls, and that's fine. A tornado warning is out for that area and points to the north in western Trumbull County. So again, we want you to take this line very seriously, even though the tornado risk may be fairly minimal and the tornado warning will be probably allowed to expire here at the bottom of the hour at 12:30. We want you to treat this as if it were still a tornado warning, even if that tornado warning does expire in 5 minutes, because these are high-end wind gusts. These are possibly destructive wind gusts pushing through Kent and Ravenna right now, heading up to parts of Geauga County and heading into parts of northwestern Trumbull as well. Just a moment ago, we sampled some 70 to 80 mile per hour winds off the radar data, and there's been some ground truth to this earlier on in downtown Cleveland. There was a 75 mile per hour wind gust at Burke Lakefront Airport near the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If you've ever, of course, been to a Browns game, if you've been to the Rock Hall, it's all along the lakeshore there. That airport, it's a small airport, but there is a weather sensor there that measured a 75 mile per hour wind gust a short time ago. And I'm seeing people hearing sirens in Brookfield, in Liberty, and lots of places. All right, so, once again, if you're hearing a siren, it's good to find more information, certainly. If you're hearing sirens where there are no current warnings, that doesn't mean that you need to seek shelter because you're hearing a siren. It also doesn't mean that you're out of the woods for the night because you're not seeing severe weather right now. The severe weather risk will increase rapidly in a lot of these places that are hearing sirens right now, in Sharon and Brookfield and Niles and places like that. But the only tornado warning that is out right now for our area expires in 4 minutes for western parts of Trumbull County. And, okay, they're going to allow that warning to expire. The National Weather Service office will allow that Trumbull County warning to expire here at the bottom of the hour. I'm sure it will be replaced by a new severe thunderstorm warning momentarily. So to recap, our tornado warning for western Trumbull just about to expire here in a couple of minutes, but take that with a grain of salt. Take this seriously. This is strong wind associated with these thunderstorms, roughly the equivalent of low-end tornado wind coming through Portage County, coming through Geauga County, making a beeline into Trumbull County. Off to the south, associated with this same line, we have a severe thunderstorm warning out for a good chunk of Mahoning County, including Canfield, a good chunk of the Boardman area, North Lima, Beaver, over towards Damascus, Ellsworth, Berlin, Sebring, Beloit area. That is a severe thunderstorm warning. And I'm sure momentarily we're going to get a new severe thunderstorm warning for a good chunk of Trumbull County. I think it's only a matter of moments before that occurs. Also, there's a tornado warning off to our north. This is up in Ashtabula County. The rotation signature is a little bit stronger up here in Ashtabula County, coming into the Jefferson area right now, around Roaming Shores, around the Geneva area as well. That's up in Ashtabula County. Thunderstorm wind damage reported a while ago in Chardon over in Geauga County. Tree on a house with structural damage. It's from the Chardon Fire Department. That's over in northern Geauga County. So yeah, some serious damage there. Again, these storms really mean some business, and what we want to show you is what the radar is seeing as far as wind goes. All these hot pinks and yellows, all this stuff. Let me take off the warning information so you can see this a little bit better. All of this is serious wind, and it's pushing into our viewing area. Take this seriously. Find your safe location if you're watching from western Trumbull County right now, from Newton Falls on north. And here we go. Just as I mentioned a moment ago, a new severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for just about all of Trumbull County. And it looks like this will get the rest of Mahoning County as well. Yeah. So now we are under a severe thunderstorm warning in all of Trumbull County and all of Mahoning County. If you're watching from anywhere in Trumbull and Mahoning counties, severe thunderstorm warnings are out. The warning that was just issued for the rest of Mahoning County and a good chunk of Trumbull runs all the way until 2 o'clock a.m. The warning for the rest of Mahoning County that was issued a while ago for the western and southern part of Mahoning County expires at 1:15. But we have this warning until 2 o'clock now for the greater Youngstown area, heading up towards the rest of Trumbull County. You can assume in our entire TV viewing area at some point you will be under a severe thunderstorm warning at some juncture this evening. Now, as far as our continuing business here on TV, even though the tornado warning has expired for western Trumbull County, we're going to stay with the coverage here on TV because of the nature of the wind threat that is coming into Trumbull County right now. Again, the tornado warning expired here at the bottom of the hour at 12:30. There's no longer evidence of a strong circulation with this, but what we do have is evidence of very strong straight-line winds coming into western Trumbull County right now, and also this is going to come into Mahoning County before too much longer as well. In addition to the wind threat, occasionally a little bit of hail can fall out of these storms. There might be a little hail over into the Ravenna area right now. That's where we have this higher reflectivity area right here along I-76. There might be up to quarter-size hail with this activity. Yeah, I think around Ravenna right now we're probably seeing some hailstones. And again, our main concern here is straight line winds, and we're really seeing evidence of really strong stuff coming into our viewing area. We're going to put a loop on the wind here, where you see all these pink colors and yellow colors. Strong winds, 60 mile per hour plus, 70 mile per hour plus a possibility. This is enough to cause widespread power outages. It's enough to damage things, and it's roughly the equivalent of an EF0 tornado, those kinds of wind speeds. So we want you to treat this as if it were a tornado. So these strong winds are now into northwestern Trumbull County. Let's stop the loop and sample a little bit of this. Right now around Farmington, we're sampling some winds of 70 plus miles per hour. Farmington area, the Route 88 corridor, just west of Mosquito Lake. So heads up in Champion, heads up in Southington, heads up pretty soon in Leavittsburg and Braceville and Newton Falls. Heads up eventually in Mecca and Cortland. This is coming your way as we go from now through 1 o'clock, roughly the next half an hour. If you're watching from the rest of Trumbull County, some of the higher population centers from Warren to Niles to Girard over towards Brookfield and Sharon, you've got some time to get ready for this, but not a lot of time. This stuff is moving at about 60 miles per hour or so off to the east and southeast. So again, all of this wind is very, very strong, and we need to take it pretty seriously. Yeah, I do think we're seeing some decent-sized hail now along I-76 just south of the Ravenna area. And so if this holds together, this hail core, we may witness some decent-sized hailstones coming into, let's find this, coming into maybe the Craig Beach area, Lake Milton. You know, our radar is not super impressive looking, but I think there's probably some hailstones out here heading in this direction along I-76. Kind of a secondary concern tonight. Again, the primary concern is definitely the wind. It is 12:33, and we're continuing with our live television coverage because of the nature of this severe weather threat. Earlier on, we had a tornado warning for parts of Trumbull County that was issued at about midnight. That original tornado warning did expire at 12:30 this morning, but we're going to stay on TV because of the nature of the wind threat being roughly equivalent to a low-end tornado, with this activity pushing into Trumbull and pretty soon into far western Mahoning County. Winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour being sampled by the radar right now. So yes, getting a couple of questions on social media. Yes, the tornado warning was lifted for western Trumbull County at the bottom of the hour at 12:30. Thanks to everyone for staying with us on the TV side tonight, and also for our streaming viewers. So we've been streaming since just after the 11 o'clock newscast for about an hour now, with our late night severe weather threat pretty much unfolding as planned. These storms have been targeted to roll through in the wee hours of the morning since last night, really, is when we first started really honing in on the timing of this. And here's the radar loop. Now, we had some kind of precursor storms, if you will, earlier that rolled through eastern Mercer County, and those are impacting the greater Pittsburgh area right now. Most of that activity is non-severe. The severe weather is with the activity that's pushing back into our viewing area right now, our western and northern areas. That's where the severe weather risk has been, is the highest and will continue to be the highest for the next half an hour to 45 minutes or so. Our colleagues at the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh noting that the tornado threat remains highest near I-90 in northwest PA and northeast Ohio. Basically between I-80 and I-90. It's a little bit lower, that tornado risk, as you go south of I-80 and down into more of Lawrence County, Mahoning County, Columbiana County. The ingredients are not quite as good for tornadic circulations in those areas. But tornado or not, everyone's under the gun for some strong winds pushing into the area. So we're continuing with our live television coverage, even though the tornado warning that was out earlier for western Trumbull has expired. Check out these wind gusts in the pinks and yellows. This is the radar sampling. Very strong winds. Now we're sampling the storm here a couple of thousand feet up in the atmosphere. This is not the radar seeing exactly what's going on at the ground level, but oftentimes we can extrapolate a little bit in heavy thunderstorms. The energy aloft in heavy thunderstorms can be transferred down to the surface. So even though the radar beam from the Cleveland radar source is hitting this storm now in western Trumbull County, a few thousand feet high, it's up there. And so we're sampling the storm aloft somewhat. It's possible that some of this wind energy is being pulled down to the ground. Just getting a reminder now on my mobile device. WEA wireless emergency alerts, something that is a good idea for you to have activated on your mobile devices. Most mobile devices have this activated by default, but check your settings and make sure WEA wireless emergency alerts are activated. I just got an alert for the destructive nature of this thunderstorm complex pushing in. You'll notice the tag has been changed to this severe thunderstorm warning. You'll notice, look at this, right here, destructive, the tag on this storm now. So the National Weather Service has issued a destructive tag on this severe thunderstorm warning, and this is the highest end severe thunderstorm warning that the National Weather Service can issue. This is something you don't see very often issued by any National Weather Service office, especially our local ones in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So again, this is a serious situation. Take this seriously. Treat this like as a tornado, as if it were a tornado, with this severe thunderstorm warning, particularly the part of the line that is pushing into Newton Falls and Southington right now and is making a beeline towards Warren and Mineral Ridge and eventually Vienna and maybe the greater Youngstown area as well. So the destructive tag has been issued. This is maybe the first time I've seen the National Weather Service issue a severe thunderstorm warning for our area that has that particular tag on it. So that's a warning that has the destructive tag on it is in effect until 1:15. Again, what we're talking about is this little piece of wording right here in our box showing, yes, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but it has the destructive tag on it, meaning that 70 to 80 mile per hour winds are likely within this line that is racing off to the south and east at about 60 miles per hour or so. The other warning, the other severe thunderstorm warning that is active for our viewing area is down in the rest of Mahoning County, basically the southwestern and southern tier of Mahoning County. That does not have the destructive tag on it. The National Weather Service has a considerable tag on it. That's one level below destructive in terms of these tags that can be put on severe thunderstorm warnings. But again, we're splitting hairs a little bit here. All of this is dangerous. All of this means business. Some small hail, perhaps even some medium-sized hail, can also accompany this part of the storm that's riding along I-76 towards Berlin Lake and Lake Milton and the area of northwestern Trumbull County. that has had severe weather a couple times this season. Craig Beach area included. There might be up to a quarter-size hail along I-76 right now. But I'm most concerned about the wind, of course. This is radar data, sampling the storm and sampling some wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Let's show you real quickly here. Let me see if I can find it, so bear with me for just a moment. I'm going to show you a graphic here showing what we call the enhanced Fujita scale. This is the scale in which we use to rank tornadoes and their strength. An EF0 tornado, right here, that is 65 to 86 mile per hour wind. And so we don't have any tornado warnings out for our area right now, but this is just a reminder that these winds, these thunderstorm winds, are roughly the equivalent, not even roughly, they are the equivalent of an EF0 tornado. Treat it as such. Treat this seriously. Find your safe location away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. If you have a basement, that is the preferable place to be. Early this morning, it is 12:41 a.m. and do us a favor, help us out a little bit. If you know someone who's not watching this coverage and maybe trying to sleep through this, it's that time of the night. Help us out. Help us spread the word. Send them a message. Maybe give them a call. See if you can wake them up if they happen to be sleeping. If they are in these warning polygons, especially this part of the warning polygon in the greater Warren area around Champion, heading down towards Niles and Lordstown, and eventually over towards Vienna, Churchill, Liberty, Hubbard, Brookfield, Yankee Lake, places like that. If you know someone who's not watching this coverage, who may be sleeping through this, it may be a good idea to give them a call, send them a text, wake them up, and let them know it may be time to find your safe location. Basement or lowest level of your home, away from the windows. For a lot of people, an interior room is best if you don't have a basement, and for a lot of people, that's a bathroom, a closet, a crawl space, a utility closet, things like that. Those tend to be, maybe under a stairwell. Those tend to be your best locations to be if you don't have a basement that's below ground. So again, we don't have any tornado warnings out, but what we do have are very high-end severe thunderstorm warnings with this activity pushing to the east. 60 to perhaps 75 plus mile per hour wind gusts associated with this. This line has had a history of doing some damage. We've gotten some reports relayed from the National Weather Service of wind damage over in Geauga County earlier on. We had a spotter report in Kent that I'm just now seeing. This is, of course, over in Portage County. Earlier on, this was at 12:35. 80 mile per hour wind gust on a backyard weather station. And that's the owner of that station relayed that report and heard numerous trees snapping. So again, that was over in Kent a little while ago. This is the same line that's pushing into our area right now. So again, 80 miles per hour plus reported over in Kent with trees being snapped. We had reports of damage in Geauga County earlier on. So again, the message we want to send people here is that we need to treat this as if it were a tornado warning, even though this is a severe thunderstorm warning. This is the highest end severe thunderstorm warning. This is wind that is capable of knocking the power out and doing damage, knocking over trees, knocking over power lines, blowing things around, trampolines, any loose outdoor objects. Hopefully you took some time earlier to secure those loose outdoor objects across our area. We're most concerned right now from roughly Newton Falls on north, the Warren area, heading north through Southington, up towards Bloomfield, Mesopotamia, and it's heading towards Mecca, Johnston, Gustavus, Cortland, Howland, and Niles, along with Mineral Ridge, here before too much longer. This is our, we'll briefly take a look at one of our cameras. This is in Niles, where things are still pretty calm right now at 12:44 a.m., but it'll be interesting to check this scene out coming up in maybe 10 or 15 minutes. That's our camera in Niles. Our other active camera right now is in Boardman in Mahoning County along 224. Your turn is coming. You have a little time to get ready for this. You were under a severe thunderstorm warning along that 224 corridor for a while yet. All right, so recapping for those just joining our coverage, we'll get back to the details of the warnings momentarily, but just to kind of reset here, a severe thunderstorm watch is out for all the counties in yellow until 3 a.m., including basically all of northern Ohio and the northwestern corner of Pennsylvania. That's a severe thunderstorm watch, and we have severe thunderstorm warnings now out for all of Mahoning and all of Trumbull counties. If you are not in Mahoning and Trumbull counties, you'll be under a severe thunderstorm warning before the night is through in Mercer County, in Lawrence County, and down into Columbiana. In fact, just as I say that, a new warning was just issued by the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh. This warning polygon includes just about all of Mercer and kind of the roughly northern half of Lawrence County. So Newcastle on north, all of Mercer County basically. So basically now we have entire counties under severe thunderstorm warnings, including all of Mahoning County, all of Trumbull County, all of Mercer County, and about half of Lawrence County. Columbiana County, no warning for you just yet, but that will change before the evening is through. I do think we have a couple of hail cores embedded in this line, probably coming into western Mahoning here in the next couple of minutes. Some at least small hail, perhaps even up to quarter-size hail. There's also probably some hail closer to Alliance, closer to New Franklin. This may come into extreme northwestern Columbiana and southwestern Mahoning here before too much longer. The hail is certainly a secondary threat out there tonight. The main threat is with our wind. Let's check in on the latest wind data. So, yeah, bright colors here. We don't want to see these bright colors. Potentially destructive winds with the leading edge of this line. We're sampling the storm at about 4,000 or 5,000 feet aloft, but that's the best we can do with our radar data. A lot of times, though, with the caveat that in heavy thunderstorms, what's going on 4,000 feet above our heads can be brought down to the surface. We can't measure the wind with the radar directly at the surface where we live when you're this far away from the radar source. The radar source is near the Cleveland Airport, Hopkins Airport, to the south and west of downtown Cleveland. If, in case you're unaware, if you're a weather nerd, maybe you're aware the main radar, the National Weather Service radar in Pittsburgh, is down for maintenance right now. It's going to be down for almost 2 more weeks, so we don't have access to that data coming out of the Pittsburgh area. So we're going to rely pretty heavily still on the Cleveland National Weather Service radar. So the heaviest winds right now being sampled by the radar are coming into Vienna and Fowler, Niles area, Girard, Mineral Ridge. Still some strong winds, Warren to Lordstown. Let's check in on that Niles camera and see. Yeah, you can see what we have going on here. Strong winds and blinding rainfall. This is across from Eastwood Mall in Niles along 422. You can see a little bit of shaking with the camera here, indicating strong wind gusts and certainly some very, very heavy rain. It looks like right here in this location along 422 in Niles we still have power, so that is a good thing, but that may not be the case before too much longer in a lot of our area with this kind of wind blowing through. In fact, real quickly, while we keep this camera up, I'm just going to check in on the latest power outages. I have no doubt that the power outage numbers will continue to increase across our area before the night is through. The biggest numbers are up in the big population centers in northern Ohio, so there's 44,000 without power in Cuyahoga County. Closer to home in Portage County, about 3,700 without power. We don't have any reported power outages in our Ohio counties right now, but look at this camera shaking around. Look how blinding that rain is in Niles right now. You can, if you look carefully, let me pan this camera down. If you look carefully here, you can see how sideways that rain is moving along 422, indicating very strong winds. We even have some trees, of course, down at the bottom of the screen that are blowing around in the wind as well. So yeah, we're probably seeing some very hefty wind gusts, and with this line getting pretty close to the Youngstown Warren Airport, where we do have a reporting station, a sensor that can tell us the wind speeds, we'll get a fresh observation from the airport here before too much longer, showing us what the wind gust is as this storm rolls over the Youngstown Warren Airport in Vienna. I'm going to take off the warning information here briefly just so things are a little bit easier to see. We have big heavy thunderstorms now moving through Trumbull County, including the Niles and Warren area up to Cortland. This is coming into Vienna here shortly. Same thing in Girard and Liberty. Heads up in Austintown and Canfield. Now, we want you to treat this, again, if you're just joining us with the coverage this morning, we want you to treat this as if it were a tornado warning. We had one tornado warning out earlier in parts of Trumbull County, western Trumbull County. That was allowed to expire at the bottom of the hour at 12:30. But these are the highest end severe thunderstorm warnings that the National Weather Service issues. These wind gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour can do many of the same things that a tornado can do. So seek shelter from this. Find your safe location. If you're watching from Cortland, Vienna, Warren, Niles, Mineral Ridge, Liberty, most of the greater Youngstown area, Canfield, Ellsworth, Berlin, and heading down towards closer to Salem as well. Now or in the next few minutes, it's a good time to find your safe location. If you know someone that is sleeping through this here as we approach 1 o'clock in the morning, and of course they're not watching this stream, good idea to help us out. So we would really appreciate it if you would help spread the word and let them know, hey, maybe it's a good time to stop sleeping and take this weather pretty seriously and find a safe location. Now, this isn't going to last all night. You know, nobody likes their sleep being interrupted. We think the severe weather threat will wind down in our television viewing area by about 2 o'clock or so, maybe 2:30 at the latest. Rest of the night then, showers linger, much better day coming up on Friday, and we should be done with severe weather for quite some time after that. This is a pretty unusual setup for this late in the season. A high-end wind event like this, not something we typically see during the second half of August. Severe weather in our area tends to be on the decline late in August and into the month of September. But this is an exception. This is a pretty hefty setup, a pretty impressive setup for severe weather, given the time of the year. All right, so now we're getting a new severe thunderstorm warning. This will cover Columbiana County. So we're going to show you that visually now, and it's for the entire county. So this is one of those rare circumstances. We can now say that everyone in our viewing area, if you can watch us on TV, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to take off the lightning data to make this a little easier to see, and I'll take off the warning information briefly as well. But here's a look at the radar. Now, if you can watch us on TV, if you are in our viewing area, Columbiana, Mahoning, Trumbull, Mercer, Lawrence counties, everyone is under a severe thunderstorm warning now. It's not often we can say that, but that is the case right now. The biggest threat, the most severe threat, if you will, is in this part of the storm that's moving through Trumbull County right now. So seek shelter, Vienna, Niles, and points east. We're seeing the worst of the wind pushing to your east now if you're watching us from Warren and Lordstown and Newton Falls. The worst of the wind is now pushing to your east. Starting to see a little bit of flickering with our power here in downtown Youngstown as this line approaches. We haven't gotten our freshest observation from the Youngstown Warren Airport just yet, but in a few minutes we should get a fresh observation from the airport to see what the wind gust was measured at there. Imagine it's going to be pretty impressive, certainly. Again, off to the south, even though you're not in the most perhaps dangerous part of the storm in terms of strong winds, even though the winds are strong, but maybe the strongest of the winds may be just barely missing you. There may be a hail threat with this coming into areas around and south of 224 in the western half of Mahoning County. So think Berlin on west out towards the Portage line. Strong winds and probably some hail embedded in this as well. Also in northwestern Columbiana County, there can be some hail coming in. This is probably a little bit of hail right now around New Franklin, right along the Columbiana-Stark line. But again, the hail threat, we're not going to harp on that too much because it's kind of a secondary threat. By far and away, the biggest threat is with our straight line winds. Take off the warning information and give you some clock times as far as an arrival here of this destructive line of thunderstorms. This is plowing to the east-southeast at about 60 miles per hour, giving us some arrival times like this. We can't list every city, of course, but we'll do our best to give you a list here of kind of what to expect. Basically, we're looking at, in the next couple of minutes, crossing the state line over into Mercer County, Columbiana coming up here in about 5 to 10 minutes, over into the I-79 corridor in Mercer County as we head towards 110 to 115, East Liverpool, over towards Salineville and up towards East Palestine. It's going to be a little bit closer to the bottom of the hour, 1:30 or so, and over towards Elwood City, Beaver Falls, places like that again, maybe 1:30 or so. This is racing. I mean, this stuff is moving really, really fast. Now, the good news is with the fast movement, the threat of severe weather in any one location is not going to last all that long. This stuff is moving at 55, 60, 65 miles per hour. So you notice there's no more warnings once we get past the main line. There's no more severe thunderstorm warnings up near Cleveland, for example. Even some of these heavier storms back towards Toledo are not warned. So in any one location, the severe part of this is not going to last all that tremendously long. Let's take another look outside here in Niles. This is our camera across from Eastwood Mall, Route 422 in Niles. It does not look as severe as it did when we checked in on this 5-7 minutes ago, but you can see the rain is still moving kind of sideways here along Route 422. Our own Chris Serenelli mentioning some huge gusts and lost power in Mineral Ridge. Thanks to Chris for that. Someone commenting on Facebook, why are we not live? Well, we are. Let's go down to, real briefly, we'll check in on the 224 corridor. This scene is going to look pretty different here in a couple of minutes. You can see the camera here in Boardman across from Southern Park Mall is shaking. And a big thunderstorm is just about to push into the Boardman area here momentarily. So we'll continue checking in on that camera. The reason why we are continuing our television coverage here this morning as we head towards the top of the hour, 1 a.m., it's because even though we don't have an active tornado warning, we have high-end severe thunderstorm warnings for our entire television viewing area, with the exception now of extreme western and northern Trumbull County. If you're watching from Bloomfield, Mesopotamia, Farmington, Braceville, Newton Falls, you're no longer in a warning in those locations. The severe weather threat for the night is probably just about over in those locations. But for the rest of our viewing area, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning now. There's a variety of end times for these severe thunderstorm warnings. There's so many of them, so we can't spend a lot of time talking about this one expires at this time, this one expires at this time. Just, if you're watching this and you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, find your safe location. Now's not the time to poo-poo this, if you will, because it's not a tornado warning. This is the equivalent of a tornado when we're talking about wind gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour. And I am continuing to keep a close eye on the wind velocity data to watch for any hints of circulation. I'm not seeing a lot right now, but we're handicapped a little bit this morning by the fact that we don't have a radar source in Pittsburgh. It's down for maintenance right now. So we're continuing to rely on the Cleveland National Weather Service radar, which is way up here, and we're getting now 80 miles per hour, or 80, I should say, miles away from that radar source, which means that radar beam, because of the curvature of the Earth, that radar beam is sampling the storm very high up within the storm. It's not ideal for us to pick out circulations and know for certain what's going on at the ground, and that's why we need your help. Facebook comments and YouTube comments certainly are helpful. We're going to keep an eye on official observations as well from our sources. And yes, we just did get our fresh gust at the airport, a 54 mile per hour gust at the Youngstown Ward Airport. So again, 54 miles per hour a handful of minutes ago at the Youngstown Warren Airport in Vienna. So that's a little bit of ground truth to this. Even though, we've got this radar data, it's becoming a little less reliable as it gets farther away from the radar source. And so there is some ground truth to this, that we have at least 50 to 55 mile per hour winds still ongoing with this line of storms. That's pushing into Mercer County right now and pushing through southeastern parts of Trumbull into Mahoning County, into Columbiana County as well. Now, it's interesting, the National Weather Service office in Cleveland did drop the destructive tag from our line of storms. If you've been watching the coverage for a while now, I talked a little while ago about these tags that can go on our severe thunderstorm warnings. Considerable is a level below destructive. Doesn't mean we don't take this seriously. We still need to take it seriously. But it may be a little less serious than it was a little while ago when they put a destructive tag on this line of storms for Trumbull County that was in effect earlier on. Still, this is continues to be a serious situation, and we'll show you the traditional radar here. Find your safe place if you're watching us from the Mercer area down to New Wilmington, heading down south towards Unity, Rogers, Negley, East Palestine, Lisbon, West Point, down to Summitville, certainly in Hanoverton, the Guilford Lake area. Seek shelter from this. It's don't not take this seriously because it's not a tornado warning. It's a high-end severe thunderstorm warning, and we want you to be safe. We want you to find your safe location, and that usually means being away from the windows and finding an interior room, putting as many walls between you and the outside as you can. If you don't have a basement, any interior room that doesn't have windows is the place to be. If you just can't get away from windows, find just the smallest windows in your safe place. The bigger the window, the more at risk you are from seeing some problems, some damage, potentially from this line as it pushes through. Got a Facebook comment mentioning a high wind gust in Boardman. Power is flickering near Hitchcock and Western Reserve. Facebook comment about power just being lost in the Poland area. Garbage cans are missing in action in Warren, but they still have power. Thanks to Wendy for that comment on Facebook. Megan in Sharon mentioning a loss of power there. Looks like electricity has been lost in Fowler and parts of the Canfield area as well. I'll do a real quick check again on our First Energy site here showing the power outages by county. All right, so in Trumbull County, officially over 1,000 without power now. We don't have any numbers for Mahoning at this point, but in Trumbull, at least 1,000 without power. Not getting any numbers yet from Western PA. So officially on First Energy site, 1,073 without power in Trumbull County. The biggest numbers are in Braceville Township. No numbers yet out of Mahoning, but again, that's probably going to change. All right, so here we are at 1:03 a.m., and we're continuing to follow this line of severe storms that's pushing through the area very quickly, 60 miles per hour or so, the forward speed on these, and they have the potential to pack winds of 60 plus miles per hour. Let's head down to Boardman, 224 and Market Street. We're looking now east towards Poland. This is across from Southern Park Mall. You can see the camera is rattling quite a bit here. No doubt we're seeing some strong wind gusts here in the Boardman area. We have seen evidence of wind speeds of at least 50 miles per hour across our area. We had an official observation at the Youngstown Warren Airport in Vienna of 54 miles per hour about 10 minutes ago. And so we're seeing evidence of that continuing down here in the 224 corridor. Thanks for sticking with us. Again, if you are watching this but you know someone who is not and maybe trying to sleep through this, maybe a good idea to let them know a pretty serious wind event is impacting their area, and it may be a good idea to seek shelter from this and treat it as if it were a tornado warning. And so we're thinking, now places that are just about to experience this, from Summitville to Lisbon to Columbiana, and points to the north and east. The storm's now rolling into the Newcastle area, New Wilmington as well, over in Mercer County. These storms are now rolling into the I-79 corridor. Now, can we give you the all clear in some locations? Because it's important that we do that from time to time as well. And we do think we can give you the all clear from severe for the rest of the night. You can rest a little easier now from Mecca to Warren to Newton Falls and points to the north and west. So this includes far northern Trumbull and western Trumbull County. We'll give you the all clear probably in about 10 minutes or so, closer to Youngstown, closer to Sharon, and out towards Austintown as well. Not quite yet, but hang in there a couple of minutes, then we'll give you the all clear in those locations. Hang in there, though, for a while longer. We've got a doozy of a thunderstorm pushing towards Guilford Lake and Lisbon, New Garden area, heading up towards Damascus, Washingtonville, Salem, Columbiana, North Lima, Canfield, Boardman, the greater Youngstown area as well. And again, don't be surprised if you have some hail with this, especially right now around Hanoverton. I do think there's probably some hailstones falling out of this, perhaps up to quarter size, in this core out here along Route 30 in the Hanoverton area. In addition to wind, probably some pretty big hailstones. Not seeing much evidence of hail elsewhere across our area, at least anything more than just little pea-size hailstones. Secondary threat, certainly, but something we do want to note. With everything moving so quickly, this works to our benefit a little bit in that we'll be able to sound the all clear in more locations more quickly over the next hour or so as this line continues pushing to the east at about 60 miles per hour. Fresh information from the National Weather Service office in Cleveland. They're going to continue the warning for Crawford County. And yeah, both the Cleveland and Pittsburgh offices are confirming that the back end of this, what's going on right now towards Cleveland, some rumbles and some rain, but no severe weather up here. So it's just along the leading edge, really, that we have a concern for these really strong wind gusts. Take these seriously, but in the next 5 or 10 minutes, this is the zone we're going to be really watching. From Lisbon on north towards East Palestine, up towards Newcastle, up towards Grove City and Slippery Rock, and points to the south and east. This is another area we're watching for hailstones right now around Hanoverton, but we're all clear from severe for the rest of the night now in this area that I'm circling. The Cortland area, most of the Warren area, heading over towards Brookfield, Yankee Lake, Vienna, up towards the Kinsman area, Johnston, Bloomfield, Mesopotamia, Southington, all clear for the rest of the night. There's going to be some rumbles and some rain, but the severe wind threat appears to be over for those locations that I just named. If you're watching us from our far southern viewing area, Salineville, Highlandtown, heading over towards East Liverpool, Calcutta, Glenmore, Laycroft, places like that, coming up here by the bottom of the hour, you're going to be dealing with this. Strong gusts of wind, perhaps some hailstones, especially near the Route 30 corridor. So heads up for that around Lisbon. You might experience some hail with this. But if you're watching us from closer to the Ohio River, East Liverpool area, it'll be closer to 130. Same idea as you go up north, Beaver Creek State Park, heading up towards Rogers, and especially east of Rogers along 170 and heading up towards East Palestine. You're getting some rain right now, but the strongest of the winds are still a couple of minutes away. Already seeing those strong winds pushing through the Newcastle area right now. And up towards New Wilmington as well, and heads up in Grove City. It's just about to push through your area. So we're going to hang with you on the coverage here on the TV side until the threat for destructive winds clears our viewing area, and for most of our viewing area, that's going to be closer to the bottom of the hour, closer to 1:30 before this exits kind of the East Liverpool area. More and more places we're going to give you the all clear in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Around and north and west of where this core of wind is. So again, I'm going to circle an area here. Basically, Salem, Beloit, Sebring, Ellsworth, Youngstown, the 224 corridor, the 422 corridor, a good chunk of Trumbull County. You're just about in the clear for the night. Still some frequent lightning as you get closer to Salem, certainly, and this storm gets quite a bit worse as you head down deeper into Columbiana County. Right along Route 30, some small hailstones, maybe some medium-sized hailstones in some spots around Hanoverton, and that's making a beeline off to the east towards the Lisbon area pretty soon. Get some fresh power outage numbers for you here. First of all, in Pennsylvania, not getting any numbers yet out of Mercer or Lawrence County in our Ohio counties. The biggest numbers, no doubt, are near the Cleveland area in Cuyahoga County, over 55,000. Closer to home, 21,000 out in Portage. In Trumbull County, we're still at 1,073, and we still don't have any numbers yet on First Energy, their site for Mahoning County, but I've gotten some Facebook comments of power outages in parts of Mahoning County. Tiffany mentioning this, it's really coming down and very windy in Kensington. A lot of comments. They're going to scroll by pretty fast, and apologize I can't recognize all of them, but know that they are all appreciated. Anyone who's commenting on our social media channels right now, we really, really appreciate it. So find your safe location. Be prepared for winds of at least 50 miles per hour or so. East Liverpool to Salineville, up towards Lisbon, up towards Columbiana, and especially to the east now of Columbiana, closer to the state line. And Elwood City, Slippery Rock. This is coming into Grove City right now. And certainly some strong winds are being experienced right now around and east of I-79 over in Mercer County. The status of our warnings, all of Columbiana County basically still under a warning. The places in Trumbull County that are still under a warning, just basically the southeastern areas, but that is about to expire in a couple of minutes. So we're going to give you the all clear now. Lordstown, Niles, Warren, Vienna, Churchill, Hubbard, places like that, all clear. All clear from severe, even though we're still in a warning for a couple more minutes in Youngstown and Boardman and Canfield. Austintown, rest easy for the rest of the night. Some rumbles of thunder, some rain, but the severe wind threat appears to be just about over. The elsewhere in Mahoning County, the other warning that's in effect for the areas closer to the Columbiana County line is about to expire here at 1:15. Our Columbiana warning is going to run until 1:45. Our warnings over in Pennsylvania, just about all of Mercer is still under a warning, even though if you're watching us from west of Route 19, basically west of Mercer, you're pretty much in the clear at this point. Still a severe weather threat, though, the closer you are to the Venango line over in far eastern Mercer County. Lawrence County, still under a severe thunderstorm warning for a little while longer. We'll be able to give you the all clear in most of Lawrence County here by the bottom of the hour. So we're going to clear more and more places here as we get deeper into the 1 o'clock hour. And the National Weather Service is allowing the warnings to expire now. All of Trumbull County, all of Mahoning County as well. We'll hang with you on the television coverage for maybe 5 more minutes until this rolls through East Liverpool. And again, it's just about to clear eastern Mercer County. So we're going to get into the wind down phase pretty quickly here this morning as this line continues racing to the south into the east. Real quick look at the storm reports for northern Ohio. Now, this is far from complete. There'll be more and more that are tabulated. But you can see there was a lot of wind damage reports up near the greater Cleveland area. It was a busy day up in Michigan today. And no doubt before the night and morning is through, we're going to see more reports being relayed from the National Weather Service offices in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. So, real quickly, showing you the severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until 3 a.m., but I think the Weather Service is going to start clearing counties away from this watch here before too much longer. In our viewing area, I would expect the watch to be discontinued before 2 o'clock a.m. In most of our viewing area, in fact. Maybe they'll hang on to it for a little while longer in Lawrence County and maybe parts of Columbiana County. But I do think we'll be in the clear here before too much longer in most of our TV viewing area. But this is still some pretty strong winds, and what we're going to do here is actually look at the wind velocity data off the terminal radar in Pittsburgh, and it appears to be down as well. So yeah, all our Pittsburgh radars are down. I mentioned earlier the main Pittsburgh radar is down for maintenance right now. It's going to be out for another maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. Not great in a situation like this, but something we just have to kind of deal with. So we're using exclusively radar data that's based in Cleveland. We're getting really far away from Cleveland, and so we're really sampling these storms really high up. And so even though you see all these bright colors in through here, this is not reaching the ground anymore. The strong winds are reaching the ground right along the leading edge of the storms. All of these bright pinks and yellows are winds aloft that are not reaching the ground anymore, but the radar beam is still sampling the storm, or sampling the winds 3 and 4 and 5,000 feet above the ground. Let's just show you where the warnings are still out. We still have a warning for a good chunk of Columbiana until 1:45. That will probably be discontinued before 1:45, as this is just about to clear the southeastern and southern parts of Columbiana before 1:30. The warning runs until the bottom of the hour for all of Lawrence County and a good chunk of Mercer County. But I mentioned a moment ago, if you're watching us from west, or I should say east, or no, west, getting tired, it's 1:15 in the morning. If you're watching us from west of Route 19 in Mercer County, I think you're in the clear now, even though your warning will not technically expire until the bottom of the hour at 1:30. Still a lot of lightning and thunder and some heavy downpours from Grove City on north and to the east. And our storms are just about to push through East Liverpool. So with that, as we head towards 1:20 a.m., we're going to discontinue our television coverage and get you back to regular programming. We're going to continue the live stream here for a little bit longer until this stuff completely clears our viewing area. So for now, I'll sign off on the TV side. We'll get back to regular programming. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for staying with us with this continuing severe weather coverage on this Thursday night and now Friday morning. Have a great rest of your night and a great rest of your morning. Thanks, Ron. Okay, hey everyone, back with you here. We just went back to programming on the TV side. No longer think that severe winds, or destructive winds I should say, are much of a threat in our TV viewing area. The last places to get in on the strong burst of wind, now far, far eastern Mercer and far, far southeastern Columbiana around East Liverpool. I'm going to check my weather station data. I live down in southern Columbiana County. I want to see what my weather station down there reported. Not much. Now, I live in a pretty sheltered area. My weather stations are not exposed to much wind because of trees and houses and things like that, so take that with a grain of salt. But my personal weather stations down in the East Liverpool area, closer to southeastern Columbiana County, did not report a real strong wind gust. All right, so again, we're in the clear now from severe in this whole area, basically all of Mahoning and Trumbull and a good chunk of now western and central Mercer. And even down in Columbiana County, the hail threat appears to have diminished. We had some pretty decent sized hailstones earlier on from Hanoverton on east along Route 30. Those hailstones appear to have diminished in size. So with that, I think here at 1:20, I'm going to call it a night on the live stream. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Thanks for your viewership. Thanks for staying with us. We got a lot of people watching this for the time of night it is. In most of our area, we're going to sound the all clear here pretty much from severe weather for the night. There's going to be some rumbles of thunder. There's going to be some raindrops. And the wind threat appears to be diminishing as we speak. So, with that, a lot of us will try to get some sleep from here on out. If there are any more warnings, of course, they'll be published on our social media, but I doubt we're going to see any more warnings in our viewing area for the rest of the night/morning. Thank you again for watching, everyone. Have a great